What's up, guys? Mason Brock Henderson here, and this is Gotham Fall Finale. Very, very, very good episode, and a very good tie-in to what's happening the rest of this season. But before I get to that, let's talk about the episode itself. A lot of good stuff going on, good character moments. Uh, I just, it's like they knew exactly what I wanted. Finally getting to see, Jim and Alfred and Butch and Penguin and Selena all together, working together. Just a great shot, and really, really fun. But then you've got more stuff going on than that. Before that, really, a lot of this is building up to that final showdown, which we knew. If you watched the previews from last week, you knew it was coming. So I like the fact that they didn't go into that too early, because then it would have felt like the final battle went on forever. But it really went on about as long as it needed to. So anyway, let's talk about it. So you've got Bruce. Obviously, he's been captured at this point. Finding out who Galavan is, his plans, what his family did, all of this stuff. And then you've got Galavan talking to Silver. She's trying to get out of seeing the ceremony because she has a cold. Galavan's like, he bested you and you still have feelings for him. And so Galavan tells her, look, you have to get him to love you so that, he he is going to kiss you before he dies and you get to watch him die. And very interesting moment with him and Tabitha, because she is, she was chasing Alfred. Alfred hides himself, and she comes back without Alfred. And she's just like, whatever. He's just a butler. What could he do? And Galavan's like, look, you need to stop being so lackadaisical about all this. You're acting like a child. You need to grow up. And she's just talking back to him. It's like she's not scared of him anymore. And then whenever he starts talking to Silver, she stands up to him and says, don't talk to her like that. Give her a break. And Galavan's just like, you need to remember your place and all this stuff. But ultimately, Silver agrees to it. Goes into Bruce's cell, and half of this episode is that going on. God. Okay. Once again, I'm a little bit tired because of another late night. I don't sleep well. So if I yawn, just ignore that. Okay, so, like I was saying, Bruce and Silver in the cell. There's a moment where she's just like, I can't do this. She's like, I'm gonna help you out. And I'm just like, oh great, here we go. They're escaping, and then Theo finds them, puts them back into their cell. And I'm just like, oh great. Really, we already had this moment where you tried to fake us out last time. Now you're trying to do it again. And so there's this moment where she's talking to him, she's crying, and she's like, I love you. Do you love me? And it's like, oh, here we go. And Bruce is like, no. Wait, what? I know all of this is just a ploy. I don't know why you're doing it, but you're playing with me. That escape wasn't real. It was all planned. And I'm just like, thank you, Bruce. Thank you. It's just so nice to see him. He got one over on Silver last episode. Now she's trying to get one over on him, and he completely sees through it. I'm just like, see, this is the Bruce Wayne this is the Bruce Wayne I know. This is the Bruce Wayne I want to see. I want to see him learning from his past mistakes. So very interesting. And of course, he calls her out, finds out that she's doing it because her uncle said so. Finds out from her that her uncle wanted her to come in, get him to love her again. And if she doesn't, she's excluded from the family and she might die. And at this point, I could kind of see it coming. As soon as they come to get Bruce, of course, because he's such a good, he's a good guy. He's gonna grow up to be Batman, where nobody deserves to die. He of course tells her he loves her and then kisses her, and Galavan buys it, ultimately saving her life. So it's kind of a nice moment because Silver St. Cloud is actually in Batman later, and she's kind of a love interest, but she wasn't from what I understand about her character, she's not really a bad guy. Um, so it was very interesting to see her be a bad guy in this show, ultimately to get redemption from Bruce himself. Uh, Very interesting and very well done moment. Then you've got Jim wakes up in the apartment with Penguin and Enigma. And he's just like, what's going on? Like it's almost like he's hallucinating. At least that's probably what he thinks. He's just like, okay, this isn't real. I need to go back to sleep for a second. Um, but yeah, it was very funny to see that. And then Enigma, because he's still working there, he overhears Barnes talking to Lee. Where's Jim? He's a fugitive. Gallivan is innocent until proven guilty. We have no proof. Ugh, okay, I hate being so freaking tired during these reviews. This is like these past couple days have just been really exhausting for me. I don't know why. Anyway, um, so he overhears the conversation, Enigma, and he goes to Tompkins, gives her a riddle, so she finds his apartment, um, and finds Jim there with Penguin. And at first, I was kind of like, oh great, now she's doing this whole storyline where she doesn't approve of what he's doing, blah blah blah. But then it hit me. I was just like, she was just telling Barnes that he's not working with Penguin, and then she walks into a room, Penguin's in there, and he's loading up guns with Penguin. I could kind of understand why that would upset her. She just stood up for him with Captain Barnes. Said he's not a fugitive, he's not working with Penguin, and then all of a sudden he is. Yeah, there was that moment he told her about where he shot the guy doing a job for Penguin, but it was just a job. It was nothing more than that. It was to get his job at the GCPD back. Um, but now it's like it looks like he's actually working with him. I can kind of understand why she'd be upset about this. And then she drops a bomb, which still, I was kind of suspecting that maybe she just said it to get him to go with her, to leave, because if she's pregnant, well, he's not going to risk his life. If he's got a kid in the way in the future to look after, and even at the end, like it's still, is there really a kid involved, or is she eventually gonna say, like he asks at the end, he asks her to marry him, and they don't show her answer. And I'm wondering if she's gonna be like, look, Jim, if you're doing this because of the baby, I just told you that to get you to leave. So I think they might be going that way with it. They might not. She may actually be pregnant. Who knows? But yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that. God, I hate this. Okay, anyway, so you got that going on, and then you've got Alfred after he escapes. He's trying to steal somebody's car to go after Bruce, and then cop comes up and tases him. He ends up in jail, just as Barnes is talking with Harvey and Lucian about where's Bruce, and Alfred's missing too. Well, then he shows up in the jail. Alfred's telling them, well, obviously Bruce has been taken because I was attacked by Tabitha, and he's got. And then it's like Barnes says, well, he was trespassing, and he got chased out by the rightful owners of that apartment. So once again, everything's kind of working in Gallivan's favor. But once Barnes leaves, Nigma hears them talking again, kind of laughs, and then they ask him, do you know where Jim is? And he gives them a riddle. Lucian figures it out, and then they go find him. And so once again, they're all meeting together. It's all of them together, and they're just like, well, how are we gonna get in there? Lucian's questioning all this. Is there even a plan? And then Selena comes in the window. She's just like, I know a way in. I know a back way. And Lucian is still kind of questioning all of this. Is this such a good idea? Are we gonna go in there just guns a-blazing? Is there an actual plan? And so they're heading there, and meanwhile Lucian is heading to the police department to tell Barnes that he knows where Gallivan and Bruce are. He knows where Jim Gordon is. So next they have the epic the epic showdown, which is just it's really really well done. And it got me feeling. I'm like, oh, something bad's about to happen. And even though I'm yawning, even though I'm tired, I was not as tired then. I was more intense then. But you just got this moment where they've got Bruce tied to the pole. You got the old priest. He's got the knife. He's about to kill him. He's just like Bruce is just staring him down. And I forgot to talk about this. Uh, he has this moment with Silver where she's asking him, why are you not afraid? You can drop the act. You're obviously afraid. He's like, nah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm just not scared. And he even says, I'm gonna get to see my parents soon. I'm just like, that's Bruce Wayne. He's got fear, but he's handling it. He's seeing it from a different angle. Um, and so when he's on the pole, he's just staring down this priest. He's just like, you're deluded, old fool. It's like, you will be stopped. I'm just like, okay. Like, Bruce, this is interesting. And before he drives the knife in, Silver, stop! And then he stops, and then everybody, Penguin and Jim and their whole crew come in, and all the ninjas are ready, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be epic. Galavan leaves with Tabitha and Silver, and then firefight ensues, and shooting, and Jim's knocking out guys, and Alfred's knocking out guys, and then you got Penguin who's beating down this one guy with a bat, and it's just like all this chaos ensuing, and just like, oh my gosh, this is epic. And then they've got the old priest is the only one left, and it's just like, oh, he's probably the best one. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. And Jim's just like, put the knife down. She's like, well, I guess we'll see where this goes. Well, and then jumps at him, and then gunshot, and he just falls over. And Harvey is like in the back of the room. He's like, that was a lot of stairs. I'm just like, see, this is what I want to see in Gotham. I want to see they just had all this epic fighting, and then it's down to the final guy, and then Harvey comes in. He's been climbing the stairs the whole time during all this fighting, and gets the last shot and takes out the elder guy. I'm just like, that's the type of funny stuff that I want to see in the show that they didn't have much of in the first season. They had these moments where it was kind of goofy, but it really what. But then they have these moments with Harvey that are just really funny and really add light to the show. Where you have DC now is very dark, like it's gone very dark. Like you think about Man of Steel. How many jokes were in that movie? Maybe two. Like not. It was a very dark movie. It was very intense. It was very serious. And even the Dark Knight trilogy was dark too, but they had moments of light. This show, it kind of goes back to what DC used to be, which is what Marvel is now. It's a comic series. It's fun, but it has moments of seriousness. And I may just completely be talking out my butt. I may have no idea what, but it seems like remembering those old Batman shows, the cartoons, not the ones that are like, pow, but like Batman the Animated Series, where it was all kind of shot in the shadows and all that stuff. Yeah, it was a darker show, but there were moments of light. It was dark because Batman is the Dark Knight. He works in the shadows. But they still had the jokes. They still had the fun moments. They had the moments of fighting where it was all unrealistic fighting because he's just so good at fighting. It's just like, okay, he's taking down like 20 guys. that seems a little bit too much for me. But that's what it was. And this show really captures that. It has those moments where, yeah, they just had this epic fight and they're taking them all down. But then Harvey comes in last minute, shoots the guy before he can do anything. He's just like, that was a lot of stairs. It was funny for me. So if you didn't like it, let me know how wrong I am in the comments, and I'll reply back how wrong you are. It's just how it works on YouTube. So then, they show Galavan, and he's grabbing these parachutes. He said there's only one way out, straight down. and gives one to Tabitha. She's like, "There's only two." He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess there is. Silver won't be coming with us." And Tabitha finally just has this moment of, "You're wrong, and I'm going to show you how wrong you are." Hits him in the head, knocks him out, and gives the parachute to Silver, and then they both jump out. Um, and of course, Gallivan is just, Tabitha! Jim comes in. Gunn is like, "You're under arrest." And it's kind of funny. She's just like, "Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna shoot me. Let me just sit down for a second." I'm just like, that's kind of funny. Then he tosses him the cuffs, "Handcuff yourself." Barnes comes in because he's like, Gallivan kind of tells him, "We've been through this before. Do you really have faith in the system?" And Jim's like, "Maybe you're right." And he's just like, "Well, Jim, I was just kidding. Like, you've won." And he said, "Maybe you are. Maybe you do have some trick up your sleeve." Barnes comes in. He's like, "Jim, put your gun down now." And just this moment of just what's gonna happen now. And I kind of had this question going into this episode. It was in my mind. I was like, even if they do stop Gallivan, Jim assaulted him in the last episode. And even when they opened up with Jim's a fugitive now because he disappeared, the two cops are dead now. Um, they really don't know what's going on. They don't know for sure what's going on. Even though Barnes probably wants to believe Jim, he doesn't know for sure. And after the assault, even if they did capture him, even if they did arrest him, there's still that moment that everybody's gonna see. And it's just like I was thinking. This could really still be bad for Jim. It could still be an issue. And sure enough, it is. Like, Barnes is telling "Put down your weapon or put your hands on your head." And Jim's just like, "Are you serious?" Like, he's the bad guy. He's like, "We'll get him with the law, but you need to put your gun down now." And it's just, it was such a good scene because it shows that Jim doesn't get away with everything. They had that episode with the assassins, the skunk-haired guy, and there was that scene between him and Barnes where Barnes is like, "There is no line. There's just the law. That's what separates us from them." And they kind of had a bonding moment, but you still get this feeling that Barnes he's a good cop. He does his job as best he can. Even though there is no line, there's still there's a law that he has to uphold. And Jim right now is going outside of that law. And so it's interesting to see him kind of having to deal with this Jim that isn't really behaving by the law at the moment. But then, before anything else can happen, Penguin knocks out Barnes and the cop that came in with him. And just, he's talking to Jim. He's like, "Look, don't think about the fact that he almost killed Barbara. Don't think about the fact that he almost killed the mother of your child. Don't think about revenge. Think about what's best for Gotham." It's like, "Just let me have him." I'm just like, that's a very good that's a good way to convince Jim, because he's always known as this incorruptible cop, and so he does want what's best for Gotham. So to try to convince him, he almost killed Barbara. He almost killed Lee. Don't he get your revenge on it? Don't even mention revenge to him because then he's just like, "No, that's not right." But if you mention this is what's best for Gotham, well then maybe he'll listen to you. Maybe that's something that he might actually agree with. So I like that little ploy by Penguin. And sure enough, Jim and Penguin stuff him in the trunk of the car, leave, and then this moment that is going to have a lot of weight on what happens next. I hope. They've done well this season, so I really hope where they're taking this next is just as good. You've got Penguin taking a bat to Gallivan, just beating the crap out of him. And then Gallivan's just like, "Jim, please, help." I'm just like, okay, Jim's about to stop him, and he's about to take him in. He's about to do the right thing. He's just like, "Enough!" And, Penguin stops, and then Jim pulls out a gun. I'm like, what bam. I'm like, oh my god. What? That did not just happen. That didn't just happen. Okay, we're okay. I see what's going on here. I see what's going. See, whenever Penguin knocked him out in the last episode, all of this was just a dream. All of it was just a dream. I get it. I totally, all of it totally makes sense now. Him working with Penguin, Lee saying she's pregnant. All of this just, it's all a dream, isn't it? It's not a dream. It's not a dream. They're still going. He's still talking. Stuff's still happening. This isn't a dream. That's wow. Hmm. How could you, Jim? Like, it just. I was kind of sitting there for a moment, and it didn't even really process for a second. Like, it was so quick. He just raises his gun, bam, shoots Galavan dead. It was so quick that my mind didn't even process it. Like, it took me a second. I was like, oh my god, he just killed Galavan. Like, he just killed him. He just murdered him in cold blood. What? And obviously, this is about Jim. This whole show, it should be. Last season they were focusing too much on Penguin and Fish, and as much as I love Penguin as a character and Robin Lord Taylor as the Penguin, they were focusing too much on their story. They were focusing then on Bruce's story. This season has been more about Jim, and what he's having to do. And this is kind of like, this is crossing the line for him. Like, this is the line was killing. Like, he's killed in self-defense before, but killing in cold blood is like, that's the line. You don't do that. Like, the guy that he killed for Penguin, it was self-defense. The guy was shooting at him, he shot and killed him. Okay. Yeah, doing the job for Penguin's wrong, but that death it's self-defense. He's just been beaten to a pulp by Penguin, and then you shoot and kill him. That's crossing the line. And I really hope they use this, because this is what I want to see. I want to see Jim having to struggle with this. And this is where the story can be interesting, because a lot of the complaints I heard about the show was, oh, it's all just pre-Batman. They're gonna make, oh, look, it's Harvey Dent, it's Two-Face, oh, look, it's Jerome, he's the Joker, oh, look, it's Robin Lord, he's the Penguin. And they were kind of doing that for some of the first season, having Sionis, I keep saying Black Mask's dad, it's actually his uncle, I read, but having him, and it was like, oh, look, Sionis, Black Mask guys, having having Crane and his son, who's gonna be Scarecrow. Ah, look at Scarecrow before the scare. They were doing that. It was a bit gimmicky, and I didn't like that. But now it's focusing more on what we want to see, which is more Jim. We want to see more Jim Gordon and what happened. What happened to this character before he became Commissioner Gordon? What happened to make him who he is? To make him the Jim Gordon we know today, in Batman time. And so I like seeing this struggle that he's going through, going back and forth between who do I trust, how far can I go, when is far too far, when is it too much. And so it's just really, really, really good twist to take this. Seeing him kill Theo Galvan now is just, wow. And so that leads into the final scenes, I guess is what I'll call it. And this is all just clearly setting up for the second half of the season. You got, like I said, Jim, he sees Lee again, and that's when they talk. She's just like, "Is it over?" He's like, "Yes." She's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Will you marry me?" And then cut to the next scene. Like I said, I'm wondering if she's gonna talk. Is it about the baby? The baby's not real, or if she's just gonna say no because she doesn't she doesn't like who he's become working with Penguin, all this stuff. I don't know. Maybe they'll touch on that a bit more. But then you've got, they're delivering a body to Indian Hill. We saw them delivering Firefly's body there. Um, I hate whenever sneeze doesn't happen. It's just this moment of awkwardness. You're just like, nope, just kidding. So you got them delivering this body, and I figured it was Galavan. They open it up, and Penguin's umbrella is like shoved down his throat. But you get the first mentioning of Hugo Strange, which when they said Doctor Strange, obviously they've got Doctor Strange coming out soon for Marvel. But this is Hugo Strange, who I only know because of Batman Arkham City, which was a brilliant game. But I don't really know much about his character. I know he's the from what I've read, like in the game, I try not to look up stuff before I see it. But from what I've read in the game, he's like the only character to figure out Batman's true identity. Um, but he's a scientist who he does all these experiments, obviously. But he's the one behind Indian Hill, so that's interesting to see where they're taking this. Um, I hope he becomes a bit more of a prominent character, because that could be very interesting to see what he's doing with these people at Indian Hill. So you've got that, and then you've got it's it's kind of hard because I just talked about how they're making all these references to, oh look, it's Two-Face, and yeah, they are kind of go, oh look, it's Hugo Strange, and then they have a guy running down an alley, running away from somebody, like, what's this? And then he gets cornered by this guy, and then this guy shoots an ice gun at him and freezes him. It's like, Mr. Freeze, how you doing, buddy? And yeah, it does kind of feel a bit gimmicky, like, oh, Hugo Freeze, but this is Rise of the Villains season, so it does kind of make sense that they're bringing out more of these villains that we know, and maybe it's not Victor Freeze, who's Mr. Freeze. They did have the girl become Firefly, so maybe they're changing these characters a little bit. Maybe instead of Garfield Lens becoming Firefly, they had this. I think her name's Bridget Pinkett or something like that. They had a girl become Firefly. Instead of Victor Freeze, maybe they have another guy who has a different story becoming Mr. Freeze. The Iceman cometh. Just popped in my mind. So I'm interested to see where they're going to take this character. I'm interested to see what his purpose is in the show. And I'm extremely interested to see where Jim Gordon's story goes from here. So, very well done episode. It was a good episode in and of itself, but it set up very well for the second half of the season and got me interested to see where they're taking it now. What's going to happen next? I'm so excited. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this review, like and subscribe. I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.